describe someone to you, and tell me if this sounds familiar. They make $72,000 a year. That's well above the national median. They're college educated, working a decent job, doing everything right. They should be building wealth. They should have savings. They should feel financially secure. Instead, they're stressed about money constantly. They've got maybe $1,200 in their savings account on a good month. When an unexpected expense hits, a medical bill, a car repair, a broken appliance, they have to scramble. They might put it on a credit card or borrow from family or dip into that tiny savings buffer and spend months trying to build it back up. They're not living large. They're not buying luxury goods. They're not taking expensive vacations. They're just living what feels like a normal middle-class life. But somehow, that normal life consumes every dollar they earn. At the end of the month, there's nothing left. At the end of the year, they're in the exact same financial position they were in 12 months ago. Same savings, same debt, same feeling of being stuck. And the craziest part? They can't figure out where all the money went. If you've ever made decent money and still felt broke, if you've ever looked at your bank account and wondered how it's possible to earn so much and have so little left over, this video is going to explain exactly what's happening to you. My name is John, and I spend way too much time studying the psychology of consumer spending and why people who should be financially comfortable feel like they're drowning. And what I've discovered is that you're not bad with money. You're not irresponsible. You're caught in something much bigger, something systemic, something I call the consumption trap. If you've ever felt like you're working hard, earning good money, and somehow still living paycheck to paycheck, make sure to hit that subscribe button and give this video a thumbs up, because what I'm about to explain is going to change how you see every purchase you make. Here's the thing. We've been sold this idea that the path to happiness, status, and a good life is through consumption. Buy the right things and you'll feel successful. Buy the right things and you'll be happy. Buy the right things and people will respect you. And for most of history, that story kind of worked because consumption was naturally limited. In 1950, the average American was exposed to about 500 advertisements per day. Today, that number is somewhere between 4,000 and 10,000. You can't scroll through your phone without seeing ads. You can't watch a video without seeing ads. You can't drive down the street without seeing billboards. You can't open your email without promotional offers. Every single platform, every single space, every single moment of your attention is being monetized by someone trying to sell you something. And the message is always the same. You need this. You deserve this. Everyone else has this. You're missing out without this. This is not an accident. This is not organic. This is a multi-trillion-dollar industry that has spent decades studying human psychology, understanding your weaknesses, exploiting your insecurities, and engineering environments that make you spend money. And it's working. Americans now spend 95% of their disposable income on consumption. Let that sink in. 95%. That means for every dollar you have left after taxes and necessities, 95 cents goes right back out the door into the economy. Only 5 cents gets saved. In the 1970s, Americans saved about 12% of their disposable income. By the 1980s, it dropped to 10%. In the 2000s, it was around 5%. And now we're hovering between 3 and 5%. We've been conditioned to consume everything we earn, and then some. The consumption trap isn't about buying one expensive thing. It's not about making one bad financial decision. It's about the constant, relentless, normalized spending on hundreds of small things that individually seem fine, but collectively destroy your ability to build wealth. Let me take you through how this trap actually works, because once you see the mechanics, you can't unsee it. And understanding it is the first step to escaping it. The trap starts with lifestyle creep. You get your first real job making, let's say, $45,000 a year. You're excited. You finally have money. You upgrade your apartment. You buy some new clothes. You get a better car. You start going out more. You subscribe to a few streaming services. You buy a nicer phone. All reasonable things. All things that successful people have. You're not being extravagant. You're just living like an adult with a decent job. But here's what happened. Your baseline lifestyle just expanded to consume your entire income. You went from scraping by on $25,000 as a student to spending all $45,000 as a working professional. Then you get a raise. You're making $55,000 now. Awesome. But instead of saving that extra $10,000, what happens? Your lifestyle creeps up again. You move to a slightly nicer apartment. You upgrade your car. You start eating out more. You travel a little. You buy better clothes. You justify it because you're earning more. You've worked hard. You deserve it. And you do. But now you're spending all $55,000. Then you make $65,000, then $75,000, then $85,000, and the same pattern repeats. No matter how much you earn, your spending rises to match it. This is called Parkinson's law of consumption. Expenses expand to meet income. But it gets worse, because you're not just competing with your own past self, you're competing with everyone around you. This is where social comparison comes in. You see your coworkers driving nice cars. You see your friends posting vacation photos. You see people in your neighborhood with beautiful homes. You see influencers online with perfect lives, and your brain starts doing the math. They are doing it. They must be able to afford it. I make similar money. I should be able to afford it too. What you don't see is their credit card debt. What you don't see is their car loans. What you don't see is their second mortgages and their maxed out lines of credit. You're comparing your real financial situation to their curated highlight reel, and you're losing a game that doesn't actually exist. Social media has weaponized this. You're not just comparing yourself to your actual peers anymore. You're comparing yourself to the top 1% of people who are paid to look successful online. You're seeing luxury apartments, designer clothes, exotic travel, expensive dinners, and your brain is screaming, "Why don't I have that? What's wrong with me?" Nothing's wrong with you. Those people are either rich, in debt, or being paid to promote those products. But the damage is done. You feel inadequate. You feel behind. And the solution your brain offers is to spend money to catch up. Now, let's talk about the structure of modern consumption, because this is where it gets really insidious. Companies have figured out that the best way to extract maximum money from consumers is to make you spend without feeling like you're spending. This is where subscription models come in. 10 years ago, you bought things. You paid for a DVD. You paid for software. You paid for a gym membership annually. Each purchase was a conscious decision. You felt the pain of spending because you saw the money leave your account in one big chunk. Now, everything is a subscription. Streaming services, software, apps, meal kits, beauty boxes, fitness programs, cloud storage, music, audiobooks, news, games, productivity tools. Each one is only $10 or $15 or $20 a month. Each one individually seems trivial. But let me show you what actually happens. Netflix, $15. Spotify, $11. Amazon Prime, $15. Gym membership, $40. Meal kit service, $60. Cloud storage, $10. Audible, $15. News subscription, $12. Gaming subscription, $15. Productivity apps, $20. That's $213 a month, $2,556 a year. And that's being conservative. Many people have 15 to 20 active subscriptions they're barely using. The average American now spends over $273 per month on subscription services. That's $3,276 a year. But here's the trap. You don't feel it. You signed up once, you entered your credit card once, and now it just auto-renews in the background forever. You're not making a spending decision every month. You made one decision months or years ago, and the money just keeps leaving. Companies love this model because the cancellation rate is incredibly low. People forget they're subscribed. They don't want to deal with canceling. They think they might use it someday, so they keep paying for things they don't use. But subscriptions are just one piece. The bigger piece is financing. This is how they got you to buy things you can't afford without feeling like you can't afford them. You can't afford a $1,200 phone, but you can afford $33 a month for 36 months. You can't afford a $35,000 car, but you can afford $550 a month for 72 months. You can't afford a $3,000 couch, but you can afford $125 a month for 24 months with zero interest. Do you see what's happening? They've reframed the purchase from the total cost to the monthly payment, and your brain stops thinking about whether you can afford the thing and starts thinking about whether you can fit the monthly payment into your budget. Now, this is how people making $75,000 a year end up with $40,000 worth of car loans, $15,000 worth of credit card debt, and $8,000 worth of furniture financing. They didn't make three big irresponsible purchases. They made dozens of small monthly payment decisions that seemed manageable in the moment. Let me show you what this looks like in real numbers because I want you to see how fast this spirals. Meet Sarah. She makes $70,000 a year. After taxes, that's about $52,500 take-home, or $4,375 per month. She's responsible. She budgets. Here's where her money goes. Rent, $1,400 a month. Car payment, $450 a month. Car insurance, $150 a month. Student loans, $300 a month. Health insurance, $200 a month. Phone bill, $80 a month. Internet, $60 a month. Utilities, $120 a month. Groceries, $400 a month. Gas, $150 a month. That's $3,310 a month in fixed expenses. She's got $1,065 left. Not bad, right? That should be savings. But wait, we're not done. Streaming services, $45 a month. Gym membership, $40 a month. Spotify, $11 a month. Audible, $15 a month. News subscription, $10 a month. Cloud storage, $10 a month. That's $131 a month in subscriptions. She's down to $934. Then there's the variable stuff. Eating out, $300 a month. Coffee, $80 a month. Shopping for clothes and miscellaneous, $200 a month. Personal care, $100 a month. Entertainment, $100 a month. That's another $780 a month. She's down to $154. That's her margin. That's what's left for savings, emergencies, everything else. Except it never works out to $154 because there's always something. A birthday gift, a wedding, a work happy hour, a friend visiting from out of town, a home repair, new tires, a medical copay, a pet expense, and that $154 evaporates. Sarah makes $70,000 a year and saves almost nothing, not because she's irresponsible, but because her consumption expanded to consume her income. She's in the trap. Now, you might be thinking, John, but Sarah's spending seems pretty normal. She's not living extravagantly. And that's exactly the point. This is what normal looks like now. Normal is broke. Normal is having no margin. Normal is being one unexpected expense away from financial stress. We've normalized a level of consumption that makes wealth building impossible for most people. And here's the really dark part. The economy depends on this. Consumer spending makes up about 70% of the U.S. GDP. If everyone suddenly started saving 20% of their income instead of spending it, the economy would crash, businesses would fail, jobs would be lost. The entire system is built on you spending everything you earn. The government knows this. Businesses know this. That's why interest rates get lowered when spending drops. That's why there are stimulus checks during recessions. That's why Black Friday and Amazon Prime Day and endless sales events exist. They need you spending. They need you consuming. They need you trapped because your spending is their profit. Your debt is their asset. Your financial stress is their business model. Let me show you what the alternative looks like, because this is where it gets interesting. What if Sarah made one change? What if instead of upgrading her lifestyle every time she got a raise, she kept her spending flat? Let's say she started her career making $50,000 and built a lifestyle she could sustain on $45,000 take-home. Then she got raises over the years up to her current $70,000. But instead of spending the extra money, she saved and invested it. At $50,000 a year, she was saving nothing. At $55,000, she could save $3,600 a year. At $60,000, she could save $7,200 a year. At $65,000, she could save $10,800 a year. At $70,000, she could save $14,400 a year. If she invested those savings in a basic index fund averaging 10% annual returns, after 10 years, she'd have about $127,000. After 20 years, she'd have over $450,000. After 30 years, she'd have $1.3 million. One decision. Keep your lifestyle flat as your income grows. That's the difference between being trapped and being free. But here's why most people don't do this. Because keeping your lifestyle flat while your income grows feels like you're not progressing. It feels like you're still living like a broke college student even though you're making good money. It feels like deprivation. And this is where the consumption trap is most powerful. It's not just about spending, it's about identity. We've been taught that your spending level signals your success level. If you're making $70,000 and living like you make $45,000, people think you're cheap. They think you're weird. They think you're not successful. But here's the truth. Wealth isn't about looking rich. Wealth is about being rich. And being rich means having assets that generate income. It means having options. It means not being dependent on your paycheck. It means not being trapped. The people who look rich, the ones with the nice cars and the big houses and the designer clothes, most of them are broke. They're leveraged to the hilt. They're in debt. They're trapped. The people who are actually rich, the ones with millions in investments, often drive old cars and live in modest houses and wear normal clothes because they figured out that consumption is the enemy of wealth. This is the fundamental choice you have to make. Do you want to look successful or be successful? Do you want the appearance of prosperity or actual financial security? Do you want to impress people who don't care about you or build a life where you have options? You can't have both, not at the beginning. Maybe later, once you've built real wealth, you can afford some lifestyle upgrades. But if you're still building, if you're still in the accumulation phase, every dollar you spend on consumption is a dollar you're not investing in your freedom. Let me give you the framework that changes everything. It's something I call the 50-30-20 rule, but with a twist. The traditional rule says 50% of your income goes to needs, 30% to wants, 20% to savings. That's fine for basic financial stability, but if you actually want to build wealth, if you want to escape the consumption trap, you need to flip it. 50% to needs, 20% to wants, 30% to savings and investments. Or even better, 50-10-40. Cut your wants to 10% and save 40%. This sounds extreme. It sounds impossible. But here's the thing. It's only impossible if you've already built a lifestyle that requires more than that. If you're starting from scratch, or if you're willing to downsize, it's absolutely doable. Rent a smaller place, drive an older car, cancel subscriptions you don't use, cook at home, buy less stuff. The things you think are needs are often wants in disguise. You don't need a $1,400 apartment, you want it. You don't need a $450 car payment, you want it. You don't need to eat out 3 times a week. You want to. I'm not saying live like a monk. I'm not saying never enjoy your money. I'm saying be intentional, be conscious, be deliberate about what you're trading your money for. Because every dollar you spend is a trade. You're trading that dollar for whatever you bought, but you're also trading the future value of that dollar. A dollar invested today, growing at 10% annually, becomes $2.60 in 10 years. $6.70 in 20 years, $17.40 in 30 years. That $5 coffee isn't just $5. It's the $13 that $5 would become in 10 years, the $33 it would become in 20 years, the $87 it would become in 30 years. I'm not saying never buy coffee. I'm saying understand what you're actually trading, because most people don't. Most people think about purchases in isolation. They don't think about the opportunity cost. They don't think about what else that money could do. They don't think about the compounding they're giving up. And that's how the trap works. Small decisions repeated thousands of times with no awareness of the cumulative impact. Here's what I want you to do. Pull up your bank statements for the last 3 months. Go through every transaction. Categorize your spending. Subscriptions, dining out, shopping, entertainment, coffee, convenience. Add it up. Look at the total. Now ask yourself, did that spending bring me proportional value? Did those purchases make my life meaningfully better? Or did I barely notice them? For most people, 30 to 50% of their spending falls into the barely noticed it category. That's the consumption trap. Spending money on things that don't improve your life, don't make you happier, don't bring you value. Just spending because it's easy and normalized and everyone else is doing it. Now, take that 30 to 50% and calculate what it would become if you invested it instead. Use a compound interest calculator. Assume 10% annual returns. Look at what it would be worth in 10, 20, 30 years. That's the cost of the consumption trap. That's what staying trapped is costing you. Not just today's dollars, tomorrow's freedom. I want to leave you with one final thought because I think it reframes everything. The consumption trap isn't really about money, it's about time. Every dollar you spend is bought with your time. You traded hours of your life to earn that dollar. When you spend it on something that doesn't matter, you're not just losing money, you're losing the hours of your life you traded for that money. You're spending your life on things that don't improve your life. And here's the dark irony. The more you consume, the more you have to work. The more you have to work, the less time you have to enjoy what you bought. You're working to buy things you don't have time to enjoy, so you can keep working to buy more things you won't have time to enjoy. The escape is simple, but not easy. Spend less than you earn, invest the difference, ignore what everyone else is doing, build wealth slowly and quietly. Don't try to look rich, try to be free. Free means you have options. Free means you can take a lower-paying job you actually enjoy. Free means you can take time off when you need it. Free means you're not dependent on your next paycheck. Free means you escaped the trap. You're not going to escape overnight. This isn't a quick fix. But if you start today, if you make different choices than you made yesterday, if you prioritize freedom over consumption, you can get there. 5 years from now, you'll either be in the same trap you're in today, or you'll be on your way out. The only difference is the decisions you make starting right now. The consumption trap is real, it's powerful, it's everywhere, but it's not inevitable. You can see it, you can recognize it, and you can choose differently. If this video helped you see your spending differently, make sure to smash that like button and subscribe to the Penny Plan for more content that helps you build wealth instead of giving it away. The trap is real, but so is the escape. The question is, are you ready to choose freedom over consumption? The escape